God. All right. Hello, listeners. You're listening to the Wolfe and Thorn podcast. I'm CC Thornley, and I play banjo.
And I'm Emily Wolfe, and I play the violin.
And with us in the studio, we have a very special guest. Merinda is with us. Hi, Merinda.
Hi, how are you going?
Very well. What do you play?
I also play the fiddle.
Excellent.
Double fiddle. Love it.
Well, it's going to be an interesting episode, this episode, because we were going to focus on some Cape Barren tunes. We've been playing some Cape Barren tunes with me and Emily, but we're not from Cape Barren, and we're uniquely unqualified to talk about them in any way.
No.
So I reached out to Merinda, and she generously accepted to come on to the podcast and tell us a bit about some of the Cape Barren tunes, because you grew up on these tunes, didn't you?
I absolutely did. I know I didn't grow up on Cape Barren, but my dad spent some time on Cape Barren when he was younger, and my mum grew up on Flinders Island. So,
right.
very island families.
Yeah, right on. And so they were musicians there?
No, my parents weren't musicians, but they were very much amongst all of the, I suppose, sessions that you could call them. Like, they had dances and stuff, and they'd go to those. And yeah.
And so when did you learn to play fiddle? During those sessions, or?
No, so I was probably about 5 years old, and my dad brought a fiddle home one day because he was going to start having lessons, because it had been however many years, like a significant amount of years since they'd had a fiddle player in the community, and he was determined that he was going to learn. And I asked him if he would, like, if I could have a go, and he said, not unless you get lessons. So I started getting lessons, and then he stopped.
Oh!
Yeah.
Was he embarrassed that you were doing better than him?
No, I think he was relieved that he didn't have to anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so who taught you? You grew up on the Cape Barren tunes. You mentioned, also chatting before, so a lot of, like, I grew up in Victoria, and the thing that really disappointed me there was that you wanted to learn folk tunes, you had to learn American tunes. It was really hard to find the Australian tunes. But you had the reverse.
Yeah, so, I mean, besides my very first, like, violin teacher up in Burnie, who was kind of trying to teach me, you know, your basics as to how to play the violin classically, I didn't really take to it all that well, because I grew up with the Island Co's, which is like Cody Summers and Uncle Steve Lowry, who's my nan's brother, Dorothy Murray, who unfortunately recently passed away only in the last week.
Oh, no.
And they were like this amazing Cape Barren Island band, essentially, but they didn't have a fiddle player, so I grew up with them playing music with a fiddle player named Fred Pryback.
Yes, so we know Fred.
I was going to say you probably know Fred. And so then Fred was kind of my teacher for quite some time.
Right.
Yeah. And I was learning a lot of it by ear in the end, and my violin teacher was kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to teach you the style that you want to play. So,
really?
Yeah, so then I ended up learning a lot of the Cape Barren tunes and growing up with Cape Barren tunes, and then only very recently discovering Irish music and Irish tunes. So I'm very much just learning about all of the other folk music in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. I think that's great.
Emily, you had a similar experience when you were getting into folk with transitioning from... Where did you start learning? You started learning not folk but classical, is that right?
Yeah, I was classically trained.
Yeah.
And then I saw a band called Fiddler's Bid from Shetland Islands when I was 9 years old, for 10 days on the island. And I was just converted because I was like, I don't know what that is, but I want to do that. And I had just learned Drowsy Maggie, which is like an Irish tune everyone does. And I was like, okay, that's a nice start. My violin teacher was very supportive. Like, she knew I was different, and so she supported that, but she could only do in her capabilities. So as I got older, I learned by ear. I listened to their CD and just nerded out on that, and learnt all the Scottish stuff. And then it was until I was late teens, like 18, when I first met Marjorie and Steve, and kind of that introduced me to the Tasmanian music, you know, that style. So yeah,
cool.
You might be able to hear, listeners, there's a slight fuzzy pitter-patter happening. That's because...
We put on the sprinklers to add some sound effects.
It's a classic grey old rainy Hobart day today, and we're just watching the rain come down at long last. Now, you mentioned Merinda, you mentioned Ronnie Summers and those guys. So these are Palawa people?
Yeah, so
the word Palawa, look, a lot of people in Tasmania know very well, about more and more about the indigenous history, but this podcast goes out all over the world. So can you please explain to the people beyond our borders what Palawa is?
Palawa is one of the words for Tasmanian Aboriginal. Right. And we use Palawakani, which is Tasmanian Aboriginal talk or Tasmanian Aboriginal language.
We've been joined by the resident podcast cat.
It's my cat Mushu. I thought I heard a meow.
Yeah, she likes to come in. She knows we're thinking, saying, "Hey, I've got some meowing to say."
So I've just interrupted the most important part of the podcast. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Sorry, where were we? So Palawakani.
Palawakani, yeah.
So Palawakani is the local indigenous
language
that's sort of been reconstructed, or
reconstructed. Yeah. So my mum actually does a lot of that. She's she's a linguist with the she's a very impressive woman.
Yeah.
I'm very
Shout
impressed.
Shout out to Mum. Hi, Mum.
You're the best.
She is. I'm not biased or anything.
Yeah, that's good.
It's
awesome. So, if she grew up like as part of that effort, how much do you know? How much?
I know bits and pieces. Probably not as much as I should, but I do know a little bit here and there. So I probably couldn't string a lovely sentence together, but I can point out words for things.
Wow. Yeah, brilliant. That's a start. That's good. Yeah, and I think it's great that there's a really big effort down here in Tasmania to reconnect with that language. Just got to practice. Kids just like playing an instrument. Practice. What was now? That's right. Now, speaking of Palawa, there was another chap that I reached out to for this episode, and he couldn't join us today, so I'm going to interview him a bit later and get some information off him. And that's Cody Summers, who was, I believe, the nephew of Ronnie, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that. Interspersed during the podcast, using the wonderful magic of podcast technology that is available to us, we can get two people from different times in the same place.
Because we're that fancy.
Magic. If you listen to the podcast, folks, you know what we do. We talk about Tassie songs and we play them, and the way we play them is like just like you normally would encounter these songs in the wild. You walk into someone's kitchen and there's a couple of goofballs sitting around the table just knocking out a few tunes, making mistakes and falling over and that sort of stuff, and discussing the tunes. And the wonderful thing about today's podcast is normally when Emily and I do it, we know the songs pretty well.
Well, I know them better than you.
It's true. But today, we only know a couple of these songs, and Merinda's going to share with us some other songs, and we have no idea what those songs
it's
are.
It's great, though. I love it.
So you're going to see us push right to the edge, just like a real folk session would go down.
It's great.
Yeah, I'll also be stumbling over them, though, so we'll see.
We'll do it together, though. Yeah. That's the main thing.
Just do what Emily does and pretend you meant it the whole time, and give me the look.
Yes, I'll give you the look. Don't worry. That's why I'm sitting this way, so I can eyeball you this way.
Thank you. Yeah, terrific. So we might get cracking with a couple of these tunes. So can we start one first? There's a really well-known iconic tune, and it's called Black Cat Piddled in the White Cat's Eye.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about this tune?
So this was actually the first tune that I learnt, the first Cape Barren tune that I learnt, and when I was explaining, so I had that classical teacher. He actually, for one of the first books that he gave me to learn from, didn't use your second finger at all. So I learnt the Black Cat Piddled in the White Cat's Eye by ear, but I got to a point where I couldn't figure out what came next because I was so used to not using the second finger.
Yeah, okay. You'd be like, what's that?
Exactly. But because I was quite young when I started playing this tune as well, I was very embarrassed about the name, and I would never say the whole thing. So I'm still used to calling it just the Black Cat.
Yep.
Well, we do shorten it to Black Cat.
But yes, the Black Cat Piddled in the White Cat's Eye. So it's probably my favourite tune.
Do you know where that name comes from?
I'm not sure, to be completely honest, but it's pretty symbolic, I think.
It is pretty symbolic. That's why I love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, this is a tune that I think I teach my students this tune a lot because at its core, it's a very simple tune, but that being the beauty of it is that you can fill it up with as much complexity as I think you can squeeze in. Yeah, so Merinda, do you want to take us into this?
Sure.
This is Black Cat Piddled in the White Cat's Eye. Here with Cody Summers, who's a Palawa man.
That I am.
And your family came from Cape Barren Island, yeah?
Cape Barren Island, yes. All my uncles and aunties and my mother and grandfather and grandmother born on Cape Barren Island, and they transferred because of family circumstances, transferred here to Tasmania in Launceston. And yeah. But one of the memories with Uncle Ronnie was it was on Cape Barren at Long Beach, where, as I said, where my family grew up, and we're actually out the front of my mother's childhood house, which was pretty special, and it's still there to this day kind of thing. And we were sitting outside around a campfire kind of thing, and he'd sing this one song. I always asked him, Ronnie, sing that song for me, and he'd sing it for me. And but it was amazing. I was just one of those great moments kind of thing, and he'd sit down there around the campfire and he'd sing it, but the way he'd play it on guitar on the spoons and stuff like that. So yeah,
right,
that was great.
Spoons as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And how old were you about then?
Oh, yeah, 6 or 7.
Right. Do you remember what the song was about?
So it was like I know like the chorus was like sitting by the campfire and play the didgeridoo, and it kind of thing. Yeah.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Wolfe and Thorn podcast with special guest Merinda, Cape Barren expert. She's teaching us some Cape Barren tunes today. What's another one we'd like to...
Well, I have a question for Merinda, because while we were chatting before, I was commenting on your violin, and because with your tuning pegs, it looks like it's ivory, but you said they're fake ivory.
I think.
But you also said there's an interesting story about your fiddle as well, so I'm...
Yes, so the fiddle that I'm playing on today was actually given to me by Cody Summers.
Ooh, cool.
The story behind it is, well, I think it's fascinating. He found it in pieces in a panel in his house.
Okay.
I think it was his childhood house.
Like
and
in a panel? Like in the wall?
Yeah, like I think it was in the wall or in the ceiling. I'm not 100% sure, but they actually sent it off to get it. What's the word?
Put back together.
Yeah. And this was the result, and he gifted it to me about a year and a half ago. Yeah, so it's been my favourite fiddle for some time now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
what a history. Do you know anything about whose it was or where it came from?
No, not entirely sure at all, but it's got a really cool sticker on the inside, which has unfortunately been covered over by the people who restored it.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But you can see half of it, and it looks like it's a really cool little globe. I don't know, it would have been like pretty old. So
yeah, if it's in a panel in the wall.
Got no idea, but it's been through something.
Yeah, that's almost like a sacred object, that is.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Amazing. Probably, the sticker probably said Stradivarius, genuine article. Something.
Yeah, you could have like a really expensive
Yeah.
strap in your
Nice.
hands, you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
And so you've been playing that for a year and a half?
About a year and a half.
Yeah, right. Excellent.
that's really nice.
It's a very pretty violin we're looking at, people in Radio Land. It's the shape and colour of a normal violin, but it has genuine imitation ivory tuning pegs.
Yes.
It's very pretty.
Beautiful.
It's good. Nice.
Shall we hear how it goes on another tune?
I think so.
Now, we were going to play three that we know,
Yes.
and that was one of them.
Yes.
Black Cat, and the other ones were...
Should we do the other one that we know?
The Little Burnt Potato.
Yeah,
which,
let's
which
do
I've
that.
only been calling. It was beautiful because we had a little bit of a jam beforehand and just touched base on a few tunes. I wouldn't call it a practice, folks. I wouldn't call it a practice. But and I said, we know the Cape Barren Jig, and I know this jig and prefer to call this jig the Little Burnt Potato.
Yeah,
But I've been calling it
I jump in between, but
Yeah.
I should say little burnt potato because do people recognise it as the burnt potato?
I reckon community would, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
My uncle affectionately named it the Little Burnt Spud, so
Yep.
that's what I know it as. But
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Maybe
Wow.
we should just say little burnt potato now and just.
Thank you. Could we? Because
Yes,
it's much more charming than the Cape Barren Jig. This is Cape Barren Jig Specimen A, subsection 42.
Okay.
Well, because we do have the Cape Barren Washerwoman,
Yeah.
and that's a jig. So that's what I thought you were talking about at first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll do that one later.
Yes.
Awesome. So, well, let's have a go at the Little Burnt Potato. This is my favourite Cape Barren
Yes.
tune, and I like it because it's just got such a rollicking feel on the banjo, and also it's got that C sharp in there, like... Hang on. That
Yeah,
note,
that one.
I like
Great,
that note.
Carl.
Yeah. Because you can grab it and just go... Not that I'd play it like that in this tune.
No, you won't play it
fleeting.
like that.
All right, shall we begin?
Sure.
This is the Little Burnt Potato, aka the Cape Barren Jig.
Who wants to start it? Do you want to start it, Merinda?
I'll let you start it this time.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh no, we can't do it. We started every time because you're fresh and new.
Put him on the spot.
Oh. All right. Okay.
All right.
That was beautiful. Thank
Nice.
you. I love that tune.
That was definitely one that I stumbled through a little bit at the beginning.
No, that was great.
I was actually thinking just then because we just Carl played it just to you before we started playing. I didn't play the
Yeah.
melody with you, and I was like, oh, I wonder if it's different. I wonder if there's some like
Any differences? Yeah.
little just variations on the B section. So I was like really tentative, going, oh, what if I, do it wrong?
Wow.
Because there's not many Cape Barren tunes. Well, the only ones that we know are the ones that are written down on paper. So I was going to mean to ask you, like, are there more written, or is it more just taught by ear?
Well, I learned a lot of them by ear because I didn't, and I still don't really know how to read music very well.
Yep.
So a lot of my learning was just listening to Fred play,
Sure.
and learning it that way. But there are some that are written down. In fact, myself and my mentor for the last few years, his name's Ewan Baker. We're going through some old tapes and transcribing them.
Oh,
so
awesome.
There's a few more coming out of the woodwork now as well. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Do you have a book?
We're working on it.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I think that's one thing that I think I just love to learn more. But of course I can do it by ear. But because we do the Heritage Fiddle Ensemble, like we have it on a database, and we've only got like a handful of the Cape Barren, and it'll just be so nice to add more to it one day, because we've got a lot of the Alexander Lang stuff, but of course he's interesting character in history, so
Yes, we've spoken at length about Lang's bastardry.
if you listen to our other podcast, you'll hear that at length. But
he's not a historical figure that we look up to. He's one that we wait till his back's turned and then we just pinch shit off him because he's a prick.
we're still so we it's just a little unbalanced, I think, with our database, so I think we need to cover all aspects, I think.
Do you remember, Emily, the time we played for Helen Shields and we played that tune?
Yes.
And she was, bless her heart, she was very defensive about the Cape Barren tune, the Little Burnt Potato. And she asked us if we had permission to play these tunes.
That's right.
And I'd only gotten vicarious permission from Fred.
Yeah.
And then it struck me, I thought, oh, gosh, have we...
I didn't think... Yeah, that's
have we
right.
stuffed up?
Do we get any hate mail after that?
Not for that, no.
No, okay.
No. But what's the status with these tunes? Are they tunes that need to be protected for community, or are they tunes that are shared with the the wider Tasmanian community?
Oh, look, to be completely honest, I've never really thought about it all that strongly one way or the other. But having said that, I think that a lot of our tunes are actually tunes from everywhere else, that we've just heard and changed or tweaked. So I don't think that there's a real without, like,
they're not sacred tunes so much.
No, well, it's more of a modern tradition than anything else. But I mean, there are some songs that we sing in the community that would probably not be appropriate, but then there are others that I think that these tunes are all very widely known now anyway, like the Black Cat, for instance. I've heard all over the place. Yeah,
like I've heard it at folk festivals now on the mainland. Like people know these tunes and play them. It's like, yes, awesome, cool.
And there's another one.
We've made it, yay!
And also Uncle Affie's tap as well.
Uncle Affie's is that one's in particular. I know, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I know its origins, which is again not created on the islands, but it's adapted on the islands.
Okay, yeah.
So for a tune to be a Cape Barren tune, it's got to come to Cape Barren and be fermented in the isolation, as it were, of the community.
Essentially, I think that a lot of the tunes came from sealers and whalers bring the tunes across, and then also listening to the radio and hearing something and then interpreting it and playing it as they heard it, and then that, it's almost like a Chinese whispers, you'll hear something and then it gets interpreted in a million ways, and then it becomes a Cape Barren tune.
Yeah, okay.
Like the Cape Barren Washerwoman.
Which is a good segue into the next tune.
Gosh, we're smooth. See, we've been doing this podcast business for a while. We've got it down, folks. That was what we call a segue into business.
Oh dear.
Should we do that?
Yeah, we should.
This is the Cape Barren Washerwoman.
The Cape Barren Washerwoman, which is directly linked to the Irish washerwoman.
But she's from Cape Barren.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
probably washes different things.
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't know where I was going with that. That was terrible.
It was terrible.
But I said it anyway
You did,
because
no.
I'm that
Courageous.
type of person.
You're brave. Brave. She's a brave girl. So, and this tune, so obviously it was descended from the Irish washerwoman. What's different about it?
A couple of things. The A section isn't as noticeable, but when you go into the B section, it just kind of goes up when the Irish washerwoman goes down, and
Right.
and vice versa.
Is that because it's in the southern hemisphere?
Yep, I reckon.
Coriolis effect. That's what it is. Brilliant. All right. Well, let's have a batch now. I've got to confess, I do not know this song at all. I only know it through really bad, racist Irish cartoons when they pay.
Oh, the Irish washerwoman tune.
Not Irish racists, but
Okay.
racist towards the Irish. You know, like
Okay.
hey, we look the cord, you know, that kind of.
Yeah,
business.
you're from that
I'm gonna play
time.
that.
Yeah, I am from that people as well.
You are.
Racist Irish, yeah. So I'm just going to be no safety net. That's what I'm trying to say, folks.
That's okay. I only just learnt this tune before as well, so. But
Awesome.
I'll just be looking at Merinda's fingers, going,
So-
okay, I'll see if I can get
And
it.
this is what we're talking about. It's just live as it happens in the field, like you'd walk into any old this folk session and just play along. That's what we're bringing you. None of this polished nonsense. None of this electrophonic, hyper studioed mega productions.
Not
This is
auto-tuned,
real music.
real music from real people.
All right. That's enough. So the Irish washerwoman, if you would, Merinda, save us, please.
The Cape Barren washerwoman?
Cape Barren one. No, yeah, no, not the Irish
No,
one. Oh,
no.
I actually
oh.
don't know the Irish washerwoman, so...
I never met her either. No,
Yeah.
I never met her.
All right, let's do the Cape Barren
Thank you.
washerwoman. Oh, I nearly got it.
I don't think I had it at all. Thank you very much, Merinda. That was beautiful. Yeah.
That one in particular, I will go to an Irish session
Yeah.
and I'll sit down and somebody will start playing the Irish washerwoman
Oh.
and I'll be like, oh, this is excellent, I'll just play the Cape Barren washerwoman.
Yep.
And I do. And it's always the person who's sitting next to me, if they've never heard me play it before, they'll kind of stop in the middle of the B part and just stare at me really oddly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a good thing and then other times it's more about, take that away.
What are you doing
Go
here?
away with that.
B section Irish washerwoman go. I'm trying to remember it. Can't remember it. Now I've got
I
that in my
don't know
head.
it, sorry, so I
Yeah,
can't.
no, because the B.
compare.
That's I think that's it.
Very cool.
I think yeah, but I like that one more. I
Yeah.
want to learn that one instead.
Awesome. Take that, Island.
Is that one written down?
Yeah.
Or is that... Yeah,
that is
okay.
written down. Fred actually wrote that one down as well, so
Oh,
it's somewhere
did try and
around.
hunt it. Fred, I'm coming for you.
Well, we did actually try to get him on the show, but he couldn't make the schedule.
That's all right.
So we just made jokes about him instead.
No, we
There
didn't make
was
jokes.
nothing he could do about it. Nothing.
We didn't make jokes about him.
We didn't know. We should have. There was a good opportunity there. So thank you very much. That was Irish, the Cape Barren Washerwoman.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And there's another one.
Another Washerwoman.
No. There's another tune.
Another couple of tunes, I would hope.
Yeah, there's a couple more.
Oh, beautiful.
Let's do the other new one.
Which is...
The Muttonbirders Jig.
Yes.
Yes.
So the Muttonbirders Jig, there's a big tradition with Muttonbird, with the Palawa and the Cape Barren Island people. Can you explain to the people not from Tasmania a little bit about what the connection is?
Well, it's just, excuse me, it is a cultural food. It's, I can't even remember what the name is. Something shearwater.
Yeah, yes, shearwater something.
We call them muttonbirds, or Eula is the Palawakani word.
That's much better.
Yeah,
That's much easier.
And yeah, it's just a cultural food, and birding is something that like a lot of the families do on the islands, and I've got some waiting for me at home.
Oh,
Actually,
really?
yeah.
Wow.
Conveniently.
What does it taste like? Don't say chicken.
It doesn't at all. It's like an acquired taste, I would say, if you've never had it before.
Really?
It's almost got like a fishy kind of taste to it, because it's all they
eat a lot of fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right.
quite yum. It's delicious, I think, but I'm definitely biased there.
And so these birds, they fly, they migrate
Mm-hmm.
from Russia up in the Arctic Circle and come down.
Somewhere up that way. I'm not entirely sure
Sure.
of their migration pattern, but my mum, very clever woman, definitely knows.
She knows?
Yep, she knows. We'll have to
Well, next episode, Merinda's mum will be on.
have a phone a friend.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that'd be good.
Excuse me. Oh dear. All right, so let's have a listen to the Muttonbird Jig. Is it the Muttonbirders? What is it?
Birders Jig.
The
So
Muttonbirders Jig.
yeah,
Muttonbirders. Cool.
Not
Nice.
the mutton bird. The people that eat the mutton bird.
the
Go and
people
catch it.
that catch the mutton.
Right. They could possibly eat the mutton bird.
They probably
one,
do.
One thing they definitely do, folks, is they go and catch the mutton bird.
Yes.
Semantics.
Shall we?
The Muttonbirders Jig. That was the Muttonbirders Jig.
I like that one. I like the B section in that.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind
Like
of funky.
that.
Is there a word that you could use, or is there a way you would describe just in general the flavour of Cape Barren tunes? Like, is there a particular defining aspect of it?
Oh gosh. None that I can think off the top of my head. It's just like a mash-up, I suppose.
Mashup, yeah.
Mashup.
Yeah. Because when I hear them, and I don't, probably because I'm hearing them from so far away, passed down through so many hands, they've got a real rollicking feel. Like there's an energy to them, you know.
And I mean, there's heaps of different kinds as well. Like there's a schottische.
Oh, really?
Which, you know, obviously is a completely different feel to the washerwoman, which
Yes.
is one thing. And then there's also like something called the clog dance is what they call it
Old
as well.
clog.
Yeah, the old
Yes,
clog.
I know old clog. Yep.
Yeah, well, that's
Wow.
another one. And they're just all
okay.
really different kind of feels. And then you've also got, like, Turkey in the Straw was played on the islands, which
I've
is...
heard of that tune, I think.
Which is like an American
tune,
folk tune, which is... You know, so it's like, it's just all over the shop. And then we were talking about the onboard waltz, which is apparently...
Dutch?
Dutch?
Yeah, I believe that.
Yep.
Which I think's, correct. Yeah, because I think I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
That-
So it's just like, mash-up of everything.
Wow, yeah, fascinating. Should we play one more?
Yes.
So we've been a very special guest in this podcast has been Merinda, who's got quite a knowledge of Cape Barren tunes and has been sharing them with us today. And also interspersed amongst this podcast has been Cody Summers, who's given us another angle on some of the cultural things. Because the thing about folk music is that it's you engage with it in different levels and different people, and it's in the community, I think. So even people that don't become players still have these songs in their hearts in some way. You know, they've either grown up as kids or danced to them or learnt to sing them or in some way. So it's been really good. And I just want to say thank you very much, Merinda, for taking the time out to come on our podcast and indulging us.
You're very welcome.
Makes us feel really fancy. With 3 people.
It does, it's huge.
It's great.
Finally, God, I hope all this stuff works.
Yes.
So I bought lots of microphones. You see, when we did the first episode of season 2, I went out and bought a new laptop and a big red stick that leads in box. What do they call that?
Interface?
Yes, interface. I bought a new interface and all these leads and these mics and these fancy stands, and then it all failed on me.
It worked once, and then the second time it didn't work.
Yeah, it was
Anyway,
horrifying.
so we're getting through it. We're getting fancier along the way.
Yeah.
So the last tune is Uncle Affie's Tap. Do you want to talk a little bit about
So,
this tune?
Uncle Affie's, from my, I was going to say limited knowledge, is actually, as far as I know, an adaptation of the Orange Blossom Special.
Uh-huh.
Okay, right.
So,
Yep.
that's just
That would make
one of the
sense because I
ones.
know the Orange Blossom Special, but I didn't...
See, I don't know the Orange Blossom Special, but I've heard it.
Yep.
And you can hear the similarities in it, but I think it's one of those tunes that they've kind of heard and gone, oh, that's excellent.
Yep.
But, you know, like probably on the radio or something, so they've just kind of had to do it by memory. And
Uncle
it's
Affie's is
become-
much nicer to play. I think.
But it's, so it's a really fun one. And I actually, I used to play this with Ronnie in particular, who, like, absolutely loved jamming on this song. So
Can I ask a silly question? What instrument does Ronnie play?
he was the guitar player and a singer.
Okay.
So he sang a lot of the songs.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm having a lot of brain fades today. Sorry. But he played the guitar, and he had so like in classic Cape Barren music style, the names for his chords weren't G, D, C.
Okay.
That it was like, I can't even remember what the names for them were, but it was like over the top or the bottom one or Steve's
wow.
chord or something like that. So, and that's how they learnt on the islands as well. It was never, this is G and this is C.
It's just the shapes.
So is
Yeah.
that because they just was that it's difficult to get a line of communication up there?
I'm not entirely sure. I imagine so, but it's probably also to do with the fact that if somebody's learnt the tunes or learnt the chords rather, and then is trying to teach them and's forgotten what they've been called or something
Right.
like that, and just
Right.
gone, oh yeah, Steve's chord.
Wow.
Or the one that, like, I mean, I think it's G that's over the top, and I think
Yeah.
that's pretty
That would
self-explanatory.
make
Like,
sense, yeah. Yeah.
but
that's
I'm
really
similar in the way that I don't necessarily say A, B, C, D. I say first, second, and third finger because
Yep.
I don't really know what the names of the places that my fingers go are. So.
Wow.
That's right. You can play the tunes though. That's what it matters.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool.
Yeah, and that's what I find fascinating about him is that there's a lot of people like your dad said to you need to have lessons.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You just need to grab it and play. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Yeah. What are we playing? Uncle Affie's Tap?
Uncle Affie's Tap. Now, I heard a story about this one as well. I was at a festival in Kiama, and one of the players there was saying, I don't know if this is true, but it was just one of the stories. He said that with Uncle Affie's Tap, they would dance to this tune and try and get it faster and faster. And the winner would get, like the last person standing would get like a bottle of whiskey or something.
I haven't heard that story, but I like it.
So, and he played it slightly different to how I played it. And there's a variation that I've sort of learnt along the way as well. So
oh, cool. I
might play that alongside the tune.
Sounds excellent.
And you can have a little, it's it's just one of those ones that have morphed, and we do it in the Heritage Ensemble, and we have a lot of fun with it. It's one of those tunes that you can just play fast or slow. Yeah. We played it for a lot of dances, the Uncle Affie's Tap.
I don't think I've ever played it slow,
cool.
but yeah. I mean, my fast pace is probably not very fast in comparison, so...
We'll pick a pace that we can all comfortably do.
We'll follow you. You're the guest. Dealer's choice.
Righto. Oh, gosh, I hate starting tunes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Uncle Affie's Tap. Apparently it used to be Orange Blossom Special, but we made some improvements.
Yes, we definitely did.
Did you notice, Emily, you would have noticed I made several wrong chords during that?
I did.
Thank you. Sheesh. Anyway, look, I think it's that. How many songs is that?
That's 5.
5, cool. Do you feel like you want to do another one, or
do you have time for another?
Sure, it's a special guest. We can It's not my house, but help yourself to whatever you like.
I love it. Just help people to my house. Thank you, Carl.
That's what I do. I know where everything is. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Emily. Don't ask Emily. Ask me. Emily will just fuss. Yeah. Would you like a bath? I know where the whiskey is too.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. What should we play?
Well, you mentioned that you know the clog dance, the old clog.
Yeah, old clog, yes.
I have to say, I am
I have no idea.
terrible at this tune, but...
Perfect.
It's been a long time since I played. I didn't know it was Cape Barren, or if I did, I forgot about it, that it was Cape Barren.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I think I can remember it.
It's just the B part with the, which what I now know as arpeggios.
Yes, it's arpeggio time. Yes, yeah. I like this tune.
May I ask what key we're in?
D.
Very good.
I've got like Old Clog, the tune, and then Steve Gadd wrote like 5 variations to it.
Oh, wow.
I think 5 or 6. I remember because he just kept on bringing it each week to Heritage, going, here's another variation of odd clock. Pretty sure, yeah, it's like 5 variations. I've still got them. Yeah, I found.
Do you know anything about the history of this tune?
I'm not entirely sure about the history of this tune, but I know that my history with this tune was not all that. I didn't love it because I was pretty terrible at the B part, and I still am pretty terrible at the B part, but I'm just open with it now.
Oh, really?
Yep.
How do you get through the terribleness? And what would you consider being terrible? Like, what do you think is terrible?
My bowing doesn't not really match up with my fingers.
Okay.
So we'll hear a couple of clunking.
Yeah. Just watch Emily, she'll give you a look.
Yeah.
No, I won't give Merinda.
Oh, you only give me the look.
I only give you the look.
God
I
damn
only
it.
just met Merinda today. It'll be a bit mean if I start glaring at her.
Oh, that's okay. You can glare at me.
Like, what is this girl's problem?
Yeah, Emily just gives looks, It's okay, I know where the whiskey is, it's cool. Yes, so the old clog?
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to start it?
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Alright, okay. I'll do it. I think I remember. I think the last time I played this tune live was at Signet Folk Festival in 2000 and, I don't know, 14 or something like that, a while ago or longer. Alright, I think I can do it.
You're in a different key to me.
Is that right? Do you know it in D?
No.
Well, what key do you know it in? We could do it in G. Oh, that's a bit of fun.
Now, how do you think that occurred? Like, we know it in D, and someone has transposed it or copied the tune.
Well, I reckon that could be because the B section in D, you've got to load, like, because it's a pidget. Like, it's probably a bit easier to play it in G.
Maybe that's why I don't like it. It's because it's in G.
We could teach it in D. No, we're doing the key that you know it in.
Okay.
It's probably why you should have started.
Alright.
We literally are doing this on the fly, people. it's how we roll. It's in G. I'll show you it in D later.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Kind of like the sound of it, to be honest.
It's the least we could do for coming on the podcast.
Alright.
Shall we?
Yeah, you start with G and I'll follow.
Oh god. No, I'm worried.
That's alright.
Wow.
Do you want to hear the old Clog version that I know?
Yeah, just
to
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I hope it's not as screechy as mine.
No.
That was wonderful.
That was
What's
nice.
that
I
about?
like it in G. It's just so. It's just. I was trying to get the B section. I was like, no, I'm gone now. I was trying to get it.
Wow.
So the one that.
Yeah, let's hear it in D. Just for a
Okay,
different
okay.
chair.
like that?
Oh, well, we can definitely share that.
To share.
Yeah, totally.
Well, there you go, folks. That's how folk music works. You've been listening to the Wolfe and Thorn podcast. A very special guest in the podcast today has been Merinda, sharing with us some Cape Barren tunes and giving us some information. And the other information we've had has been from Cody Summers, who couldn't join us in the studio today, but we recorded him and plugged him in with special effects.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been CC Thornley, and I put my picks away before I told you that I play banjo, so I can't do this.
And I've been Emily Wolfe, and I've been playing the fiddle.
And so you got 2 bonus tunes, and I think that's all we have for you this week. I'll just say though, if you've liked the podcast so far and you're feeling a little bit guilty and you want to support it, because I haven't said anything about supporting it until episode 5, that's how far I've let you go.
Yep.
You can go to Bandcamp and simply buy a copy of a CD from us. That's all you got to do. None of this sign up. Don't tickle our bells. Don't subscribe to our thingies.
No.
Just have the podcast for free and enjoy yourself. And if you feel like you want to contribute, you can go onto the Wolfe and Thorn Bandcamp and buy a CD or whatever.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And then maybe give us a review or share the podcast with your friends.
But only say nice things.
If you haven't liked the podcast, just keep it quietly to yourself.
Yes. Thank you.
Merinda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Hooroo!
See you later.
Hello listeners, CC Thornley here. Just want to thank you again for listening to our Cape Barren special, and also want to thank Merinda, the fiddle player you heard during that podcast, who shared some tunes and knowledge with us. And also want to thank Cody Summers, who was the chap I interviewed for this podcast. Cody Summers gave us a little bit more information that I couldn't quite fit into the narrative of the podcast, so I'd like to share with you the rest of Cody's interview now, if you're interested. If you're not familiar with Palawa culture or indigenous culture of Tasmania, there's a few points here you might find interesting, and you'll be a little bit more informed if you ever come and visit us. So thank you again for supporting the Wolfe and Thorn podcast, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. This is Cody Summers. Now, when I met you doing a Welcome to Country for a university event. This is something that's kind of unique to Australian culture that's come up in the last, 10, 20 years or so. Can you explain to the people that aren't from Australia what because we listen to this podcast all over the place, what is a Welcome to Country and why is it important?
So a Welcome to Country just acknowledges the elders past and present, and welcomes people that are there to our land, and just gives them a bit of background about our culture and the names of the places here in Tasmania.
And how do you feel about that? Do you think it's an important thing to do that, or do you feel like it's a bit of a cop-out?
No, I reckon it's wonderful to do. I've only just, while being here in university, I actually just got a message one day from a friend here at the university saying, "Oh, listen, would you like to do a Welcome to Country?" I'm not really a person who likes to speak out and amongst 20 or 30 people kind of thing, I thought, no, I'll put myself out there, I'll give it a go. I've seen my mother do a fair few of them, so it was just good enough to follow in her footsteps. So I've been doing a few. My first 2 was here at the university here in Hobart. Done it for a good friend of mine, Jacob, for some social workers. But it was an amazing experience kind of thing, because the first one kind of thing, I stumbled with words kind of thing, because I just got a bit nervous kind of thing. But after doing it, you feel proud that you're actually doing it and helping and representing Tasmanian Aborigines.
Right.
Yeah. So it's everyone I get kind of thing. It's a real honour to do. Yeah. And I suppose, plus I've been to some wonderful events and met some awesome people like yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You can go back anytime. In Cape Barren when you were a kid, or?
I spent a bit of time on Cape Barren. It was probably because of school and so forth. me and my family, my mother and my brother especially, we used to go to back to her home kind of thing. She, so like we go there Easter holidays, Christmas holidays kind of thing, and spend time with the family. Usually go over there for like the NAIDOC balls, which would be at the Cape Barren Hall kind of thing, and that's where I'd see Uncle Ronnie, call him Uncle Ronnie out of respect, like he's an elder, but he's actually my first cousin.
Right.
So so I've seen him play there a few times. I used to love going to the hall, and as soon as Uncle Ronnie get up and play, it's just I'd stop what I'm doing, whatever I was doing or something like that, and just watch him, because it was really great to see. And plus, probably because there was a bit of a gap kind of thing, because he moved like to Flinders, and like, you get to a certain age and all of a sudden you're doing different things kind of thing, and you don't see your family as much as you used to kind of thing. So
that one that you remember as well?
So him and Uncle Dougie Mansell, they collaborated on was one of them songs that is, everybody go, we want you to play that one, which is Old Cape Barren. So that one's a standout one for, I think, everybody in the community kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And does that have words, or is that a tune?
It has words. It has words. I don't hear it that much. Like you hear it basically at the Oyster Cove festivals or night out balls kind of thing, and sometimes like, with Uncle Dougie or something, like, no, I'm not singing that song, I'm tied to that song because they play it so much kind of thing, but people go, come on. I just suppose it's just how you're feeling at the time.
Yeah, right, right on. And so these songs that Uncle Ronnie and Doug Mansell sung, do they have any sort of sacred quality, or are they songs that anyone can enjoy?
It's basically everybody, like community, can enjoy. So like if plays it at the Oyster Cove Festival or the NAIDOC ball here on Hobart or Launceston, wherever the ball's going to be, it's basically for the community, the people whose families grew up on Cape Barren or who have grew up on Cape Barren. It takes them back. Right. Like, oh, yep, I remember that kind of thing, and it just makes them feel a bit more at home kind of thing. So, yeah.
And how do you feel about tunes that were, fermented in Cape Barren, leaking out into the wider Tasmanian community, and folks down in Hobart playing them as part of their folk set?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. It's wonderful. But I suppose in a certain sense, to me, the original people who made the song and sing the song is like special for me kind of thing. Yeah.
Right on.
And like I got Uncle Ronnie. He was a close cousin. He was my grandfather's brother's son. He wrote a book called The Tasmanian Songman. A well-known and respected elder, a great Tasmanian songman, raised on Cape Barren Island and overcome racism and poverty. His music was an important part of his life. In 2001, he was awarded a centenary medal for the service to the community through music and communicating the history of the Furnarex Islands. So,
right.
Yeah.
And so this book is, what was the book again, sorry?
So the book was called The Tasmanian Songman.
And is that available?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So you just go down to Fuller's or something?
Yeah, definitely.
Great. So you mentioned overcome racism. Tasmania has a pretty racist history. Yeah. How do you feel it's at the moment?
At a certain extent, I just suppose where you are, I suppose to me it seems to be a bit the same.
Yeah.
Like I grew a lot with it when I was in high school kind of thing, so like my education wasn't really that good because of just bullying and being who I was kind of thing.
What sort of time period was this, 80s,
so
90s?
So this is in the 80s and 90s, so it was basically from primary school through to high school. Didn't want to continue on my education, like I didn't want to go to TAFE or anything like that after high school because I found it, I'm not going through this again kind of thing.
Traumatic.
Yeah, so I just want to get a job and just do what I do kind of thing.
Right.
But even saying that, like with the Invasion Day March, we're getting a lot of bigger crowds, and they actually understand where we're coming from. So, which is good. But yeah.
So there's two terms there that you'd probably be familiar with if you're Australian, but if you're from overseas, you won't. One of them was Invasion Day, and the other one I keep hearing is NAIDOC Day.
Yeah.
Can you explain those two terms for the people not in Australia?
Yeah. So Invasion Day is a pretty big one. Like we're actually trying to get the date changed. I actually done I was pretty happy to do. It's the biggest assignment I've ever done. So I done it on Invasion Day. I done about 1,500 word on Invasion Day. So it's basically like why do we march for Invasion Day? But why do we want the date changed? Well, it's basically like it's not really a good day to celebrate, you know. Like it's like Anzac Day. Like we have a minute of silence and we pay respects for the soldiers and what they've done for us, kind of thing. So that's what we like, you know, kind of thing. And yeah, so we're just trying to change it, and just people just like get over it, you know. I think, but what is Australian Day? Do we actually need Australian Day to say to people you are Australian?
So Invasion Day. Is what date is it? The 24th or 26th of January, 26th. Which is traditionally Australia Day, according to the government, which was the day that Captain Cook showed up, which was a pretty dark day in Tasmania, in Aboriginal history all around. Yeah,
but there was pretty dark history, like for us, like our history is, you know, all the suffering and turmoil and carnage that was in our history, kind of thing. So should it be remembered the same way, with the same sort of reverence as Anzac Day? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like so I was just like I was just trying to think of things when I was doing my assignment. How can I approach this? How can I write this? So it's like exactly like Anzac Day. How come we can't have it in that sort of way? And then you've got like things over in America, like they have Thanksgiving Day and all these other things, kind of things. So like, why can't it be changed in that kind of
bit more historically accurate?
Exactly. And like if they could, and that's the thing, like for Australia Day, I think it's just for people just to have a holiday and day off work, kind of thing, you know. And but they don't understand, like some people here, they don't really understand the history, or they don't really have enough background about, or I don't know if they want to know, but it's just they don't really know the hard reality of the history, kind of thing, of our people.
So what's NAIDOC?
So it's so NAIDOC, like we celebrate NAIDOC Week for Aboriginal people, for being strong and who we are and what we overcome, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And so you have a day, you have a week, of celebrations and stuff like that. And does that culminate in a particular day that you get together and have a party, or is it just the whole week of festivities?
Whole week of festivities, I think. Yeah. And then like you have certain events that like people go and hit the land, like Oyster Cove or Tratamuckamini up the Great Lakes or Premangana, you know, just walking country kind of thing, and just gathering around having a barbecue, having a camp out kind of thing, catching up with, you know, cousins and family members you haven't seen, and, you know, just having a yarn kind of thing, just back how it was. But and then we have the NAIDOC ball, which is pretty big. Like we have the NAIDOC ball, we get dressed up, and you got you have people like Uncle Dougie there singing, and other people there singing and having a dance, having a yarn, and just having a laugh and a good time kind of thing. Get a couple of awards out here and there kind of thing, like best dressed and so forth. But no, it's a great night.
Awesome.